Hey everybody, it's Sherry. This is likely the last video I'm going to do before the election. So this is an important one. This is summing up October preparedness and moving forward through the energy that we are surrounded with at this time. A lot of the questions that I'm getting right now, understandably, are our awakened light workers that are really having a hard time navigating through their relationships, whether that's with their spouse, siblings, family members, friends, neighbors, struggling right now because they are all still asleep and unaware of everything that's going on spiritually, politically, and all of the above. And this transition that we're in the moment, and a lot of the information coming out, people are having a hard time deciphering what's truth. And so the community that are light workers and are awake know their truth and know their beliefs and are standing firm in them and standing in the light and choosing to remain on the timeline that's positive and that will bring us into alignment with Mother Earth and into a higher frequency and vibration that's for all of humanity, for their highest good. But the people that they're surrounded with are very negative, they're very fear-based, they're very frustrated, they don't know what to believe, and they're having a really intense time right now trying to combat that energy. And so the best advice I can give you, because I'm experiencing it as well, whether it's in your home, specifically in the boundaries of your home, or just in the neighborhood, or through the phone and email with friends and family that are not nearby, we need to create boundaries. Boundaries are just the same regardless of the walls that separate us or confine us. And so you really have to understand that we cannot awaken the masses on our own. It's really too draining for us individually to try to convince anyone of anything, especially right now, because the atmosphere is so fear-based and there's so much anger and frustration that it's almost like you're going against the current. So no matter what you say, it's getting disorganized and dismantled in the energy between you and the person. And that's the best way I could describe it. And so by the time it gets to them, it's already rippled through their own truths, and they're so stuck in that cognitive brain and analyzing everything that they're going to perceive it. Okay, it's all about perception in a way that is aligns with their truth, right or wrong, good or bad, indifferent. It's going to align with their truth, and so it doesn't matter what you say to them. So right now, I really feel that the best thing for everybody is to just create boundaries and just agree to not agree, agree to disagree, because it's very draining on both ends. And so what happens is one person is trying to argue their point, the other person is trying to argue their point, and it actually creates more negative energy, more anger, more resentment, more frustration. And then there's resentment, and there is just, it makes the energy in the atmosphere so dense that it just drains both parties, and it doesn't actually do any good for either person. And so I recommend we just agree to disagree for right now, at least for the next few weeks as things play out, and just allow people to settle into their own truth in their own time frame, and don't waste each other's time, and don't drain your own battery by trying to convince anybody of anything, because you won't. And likely what's going to happen is that person that you've been trying to say the same thing to for weeks or months or even years, they're going to probably receive some sort of information somewhere else, and one day say, oh, and have their aha moment or their form of clarity when they're in a better frequency to be open to it. And they're going to turn a corner and wake up, and you're going to be frustrated because you're going to wonder why they wouldn't listen to you. And we have to take the ego out of it and recognize it doesn't matter how the person wakes up or what convinces the person to wake up. It's just as long as they do, and however that looks for them, or however their truth unravels, is the point. And so we don't want to get too focused on where their information is coming from, just that they're getting it. So try to create a neutral space in your home, or when you're talking to somebody, or we just don't talk about it at all. And I'm not saying brush it under the rug, but just talk about more positive things that you can control. Because right now we can't control what's happening, and the negativity and the abundance of fear-based energy that's around in the atmosphere. Just everywhere we go, we just can't control it. So we try. The best thing you can do is shield yourself from it. And there are a lot of different ways to shield yourself from that. So standing firm in your truth, taking back your power is important. And then once you do that and stop trying to convince others of your truth and just resonate in your own, just surround yourself, or whatever works for you, whatever method. But I like to just envision myself kind of surrounded in like a bubble of white light, or the violet flame or something, so that my energy is protected, or my kids' energy is protected, because I do that for them as well, because they're very vulnerable and innocent and unaware consciously of what's going on. They're very aware subconsciously, but they don't know how to process it or understand it just yet. So as parents, we can do that for them and protect their energy. Another thing I want to talk about that's important right now is the media and the disinformation. So I talked about in my October preparedness video earlier in the month that this is going to be the month of truths coming out, especially political truths and all of the stuff with the election, and just massive waves of truth, just encompassing pretty much anything in our life that we have been programmed to believe. And the issue right now is that the media is working overtime to block it, because they're owned by the very people that are trying to control us and keep their power over us and maintain that control, and have placed us in that poppy seed field so that we just remain asleep and just kind of numb and zombies going through life, just doing what we're told, and that's it. And so the media is working overtime right now to not only prevent the truth from coming out in any source, whether it's social media or on the news or in the paper, on the internet, however it's transpiring. And what they're actually doing instead is spreading even more disinformation, specifically information or news broadcasts that promote more fear. They want everybody to be in this fear-based environment or energy field constantly. So when you turn on the news, it's constant COVID this, COVID numbers this, hospitalizations and voter fraud and anything that you can think of. Somebody else was shot, and it's a tactic or a manipulation, so that we are constantly in that fear-based mode. And when we're in a fear-based mode, we are not able to process or discern truths that come from here, because I can't speak today. Our frequency or our vibration lowers into that resonance of fear and anger and frustration. And wait, this person said this, and now they're saying this. I'm confused. I'm frustrated. I don't understand. And they want us to be in that, because then we're just in this kind of spiraling out of control of energy of low vibration, and then we become lost. And then when we become lost, we either give up or we give in and do whatever we're told, because I'm so tired. I can't do this anymore. And so it's actually much harder to be on a journey of discernment and discovering what your truth is through here, because it takes a lot more effort, and it takes effort to keep your vibration up. I've talked about it a lot of times in the videos. How do you do that? You stop listening to the news and start connecting with nature, connecting with yourself, going outside, eating better foods, drinking less alcohol, eating less meat. That's a hard one for me. Being around people that bring you joy, doing things that bring you joy. The good thing about there are a few good things that have come out of COVID, and one of which is that a lot of families are being reunited, the ones that can anyways, and the family dynamic is shifting, where people are spending more time with their family and being able to enjoy life a little bit more, working less hours. I know there are a lot of people who actually have been working more, but I would say for the majority of people, they're really reevaluating life and slowing down a little bit and recognizing what it is that brings them joy and what doesn't bring them joy, and kind of dismantling all of these pre-programmed ideals in this matrix that we have been given and spoon-fed over and repetitively. And so we are essentially hypnotized to those ideas. And once we break out of that, raise our vibration to be able to discern through our heart space or through our intuition, or connect to the divine or spirit, or whatever you want to call it, we're much more able to see a new truth or realign with the truth that's in a different frequency than we have all been for such a long time. And so as information comes out, if you inevitably end up listening to it some way, in some shape or form, just close your eyes for a minute and just try to recognize how it makes you feel. Not surface level feeling, oh, I'm so mad, or I don't like this. No, what I mean is to see how it makes you feel energetically and vibrationally, to determine whether or not you believe it as truth. If you don't know and you try and you say, I really can't tell, then don't swallow it as truth. Then put it on the shelf and say, I'm not sure about this, and I'm not making a decision one way or another, and that's okay too. But to believe everything that you're told 100% because it came from CNN or certain Instagram posts from people you follow doesn't necessarily make it true. So you have to take in the information, process it, resonate for a minute with it, try to see how it makes you feel, and if it resonates with your vibration, then it's likely true for you. And that's a good starting point. And so everybody's in the process of this right now, which is why it's almost impossible to convince others of the truth, because you're still discerning the truth. I'm still looking at the news and Instagram posts and meditating and getting information coming in, and I'm deciphering and discerning my own truth. So how can I possibly tell anybody anything specific? Because I don't actually know. What I do know, and what I try to do in these videos, is give people a different perspective and how to really tune into your intuition so that you can think from a different perspective. Perspective is an interesting thing too. Perception is such an individual experience. It really is. My husband and I were standing in line to vote the other day, and I was thinking in my mind, oh wow, this line is going faster than I thought. And while I said that, he says out loud, man, this line is going really slow. And I looked at him and I said, isn't that interesting? The perceptions can be so different, because I was just thinking that the line was actually moving faster than I thought, and here you are saying the line is moving really slow. And so to me, that's very interesting and validating in the fact that people have their own experiences, their own truth, and their perception shifts, and it can shift moment to moment. So just because my perception is that the line's moving faster, or faster than I thought it would, and this other person's perspective is it's not moving at all, and someone else is saying it's moving really slow, who's truth? How do we determine who is right in the situation? There is no right. It's perception. It's my vibrational resonance in what I'm experiencing that moment, in that now moment, in this quantum matrix, in this field, that can be completely different to somebody else. And so I encourage you to really sit with how you're feeling before you try to convince anybody else of your truth, because we want to make sure that the truth that you are giving to others is really your truth. And that takes time to figure it out, and your truth can shift. Not that you're going back and forth so black and white, but it can shift a little bit daily based on the energy in the atmosphere and how you're feeling and what you ate the day before and your environment. So really my point is just try to raise your vibration as much as you can so that you can trust your intuition. So your intuition is there for a reason. It's really there to guide you 100% in the right way. Our conscious mind, the problem is our conscious mind, what I call in my book, The Nemesis, comes in and makes you second guess everything. Because again, the left brain, that cognitive part of us that's designed to help us through fight or flight experiences, or trying to figure out a math problem or doing your taxes, things like that, it's very necessary. But when you're trying to discern a truth, a reality, your perception, so that can shift when you tap into the logical mind, because then you're able to convince yourself just about anything. I mean, I could say one thing, but if I sit with it for a minute and I say, well, I do this and I go there, and then she said that, I can literally convince myself anything at all. It could be completely wrong, but I can convince myself of that if my logical mind takes me there. And so we have to rewind, Control Alt Delete, and try to shift our perception in a way that we are tapping in from our own knowing, because that one is the right one. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong or better or worse than somebody else's, but it's just different. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about today is holding in the intention, because I had a couple emails on this. Okay, what was I going to say? So I don't mean to downplay in the videos when I keep saying, oh, I see the future. You know, I'm not really a psychic. I'm not looking into a globe. What I'm telling you is how I feel when I tap into the timeline that we're currently in as in humanity. And I believe that we are receiving a lot of help, spiritual help. And this really is a kind of spiritual war. And I believe so wholeheartedly, because otherwise, why would we be here? There's so much good on the earth that I believe that the timeline that we are in, we will win in the end. We will persevere. We will go from disintegrate the dark on the planet for the most part, in a way that we can shift and align with Earth, and we can all evolve together. Once we evolve to the fifth dimension or a higher frequency, in my belief, it's limitless at that point, because then who's to say what Sherry is capable of once I'm in a higher frequency that's aligning with the majority of the population, where we're all in that frequency. Who's to say what the person next to me, what he or she is capable of, or this child is capable of? Probably a lot more than I'm capable of, who knows? So we need, but what we need to do right now is recognize that we're at the 11th hour of a very significant, very important shift. And if we're playing a game of chess, you know, the pieces are still moving around. The physical plane, this third dimension, still has to play out. You know, when you think about something, it may be instant, but it takes then, as it processes into our now moment in the physical space, in this dimension, it plays out. It takes time. That's what time is all about. So it takes seconds to think of something, but then it takes, you know, a day, weeks, or years to play out what we've designed or manifested. And so right now, we are just working through this dark, dense energy so we can all shift together. You know, all those people, remember, all those people are holding the what's it called, the sliding door, that ginormous huge door, and we're trying to hold it open so that the people can get through. Some people are running through right now. You know, when I close my eyes, I can see this beautiful visual of people just like, you know, sailing right through with ease, and children and animals, and then there are people that are, you know, walking with caution, but like, okay, I get it, I'm on the right track, I like the way this feels. And then there are others that are not ready yet, and that's okay. But what we can do as light workers, or if you don't like that term, that you're awakened, or in the process of awakening, because I don't think anyone is ever truly awake. I'm not certainly completely awake. I'm evolving every day, just like everybody else that's willing to, that's resonating in the right frequency to be able to actually do that. And you know, that's challenging. Like I talk about in my book, our emotions have a lot to do with that. If we can learn to control our emotions, then we have the ability to evolve much faster. I got an email from a lovely person the other day who said that she was fighting with her family, trying to convince them of certain things, and trying to get them to see her way. And it was so frustrating that she said she felt herself completely drained. And she even said, I am down in the, what did she say? You know, the elevator is taking me down into the lower floors, but don't worry, I'll be back up soon. And then before I could even respond, she sends me another email. I changed my mind. I am choosing to go back up the elevator. When I say elevator reference, I'm talking about from my book. And what she did is she chose to say, you know what, I don't like the way this energy feels down here in the lower floors. I don't like how I've argued with my family and it's draining me. I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to raise my vibration, go up the elevator to a higher floor and stay there, and then see what happens. And what happened was that she said the next day when she made that intention, it was so fast that the energy in her home shifted and everybody seemed to be fine. There was no arguments. It was just like a calm energy came through. And she was so grateful that she had that kind of metaphoric visual to use in that moment, because it worked for her. And so my whole purpose is in this video right now, what I'm trying to say is that our intention is so powerful because our body responds to our intention. And if we can just hold the intention that as we move into the future, we will move into a frequency or a space that's for the highest good of all of humanity. That's a very powerful statement, and that's you could even just say that, because what that's doing is saying anything that's less than the highest good of all of humanity, I don't want that to happen. So anything that's for the highest good of all the people, all the children, all the animals, good or bad, we want to shift into a vibration or a timeline, or remain on a timeline that keeps us moving in that direction. And it's as simple as that. If you're struggling with what to concentrate on, or what to think about, or what to visualize the door and holding it open, but then your intention will be that you are, this is the most important time. If there was ever a time that was important for humanity to pray, now is the time to do that, because the more of us that set that same intention, because remember, we're all connected by that one cord, that energetic cord that connects everybody. So we're all connected. We really are energetically. And so if enough of us on the Earth's plane are tapping in and putting out that signal that we are wishing, we are hoping, we are setting an intention to move forward in the future, in this now moment, in this future, in this timeline, that we will move into a space that's for the highest good of all of humanity. There really isn't anything else that you could say that's more powerful than that. Now, of course, you can add to that, but if you're just thinking, what can I say? What can I do right now if I can't argue with people? I can't convince people. I don't have a platform where I can spread messages. All you have to do is hold your space, hold your thought, hold your intention, hold your light, because it's very powerful. Because if all of our light is combined together, and we are all thinking the same thing, it doesn't have to be anything specific. It doesn't have to be specifics with candidates, with politics, and who's going to win or what's going to happen with that. It could just be, what really is in the highest interest of all of humanity. And if enough of us do that, I believe that the timeline will continue to shift or merge in that direction. And then whatever happens in the short term, meaning in the next 30 days, 90 days or so, remember, if some of it seems bad, just try to shift your perception. That's the word I'm thinking of. Try to shift your perception in a way that you're working from here, because things have a way of working its way out, where the good is just around the corner. So try not to focus on any of the bad that's happened, that may or may not happen in the next couple of weeks, or right after the election, or right before the election. Just hold your intention and your thought that we are moving in a positive direction that's going to be uplifting, and for the highest good of all of humanity. And I can guarantee on an energetic level, we will make a difference for so many people, especially those that are not awake and are likely focusing on the wrong thing. And I think most people know what I mean about that. They are praying and wishing for certain realities or certain things that are not of our highest good, but they just don't know any better yet. That they're working with the information they have. They're working with that left brain cognitive part of them that they are developing and discerning their truth from a lower vibration and from the information that they're receiving from the wrong sources. And so we'll just hold a space for them. And as they wake up, that's the period of time where they will be looking around at us, or you who's watching these videos, as, oh man, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Or, gosh, as I think a little bit more about this doesn't make sense. Can you help me? Do you know more? Or perhaps do you know some place where I could go to get more information on that? And won't that be a beautiful period of time? Because then more and more people are going to wake up. More and more people are just going to flood through that door, the Great Awakening door, whatever you want to call it. And that is the shift that I told you weeks and weeks ago whenever I started this channel, where I get so excited to think about, because I feel as though the direction we're heading, if we all concentrate and go in this timeline, it's really beautiful, and the possibilities are endless. Because when we are vibrating at our true essence, or gosh, I don't know how you want to say that, but our true self, where we're able to radiate and operate from a place or a vibration that is high, high vibrating, high frequency, that aligns with the earth. The possibilities are endless, and in such a positive way, not a bad way. This is a positive way where we're really going to have the ability to be empowered and be have clarity about so many things that for so long we didn't understand, or we're not in a vibration that we were able to see things in that way, in that perspective. So create a neutral space and boundaries with friends, families, neighbors, teachers, whomever that are in disagreement with you. Remember, there's no right or wrong, just different resonance and different truths. And so just stop talking about it. Let it go. Hold your space, hold your truth and your intention, and I think we'll be in a much better, more positive space as we move forward. So I'll probably see you guys next week. Until then, don't watch the news. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Try not to watch the news that much. And stay positive and focused. And breathe as much as you can, because that will release the energy that's stagnant in the body from those frustrations or those arguments that you had perhaps with family or friends that got you so annoyed and frustrated that it brought your vibration down. All you have to do to quickly raise yourself back up is say, nope, I'm choosing to release it. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Exhale, exhale, exhale. If you have to visualize yourself in that elevator coming back up, it's that simple. It really is. Keep sending me emails with your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And that's it for today. Thanks, everybody.